Little Princess, Part 2. In Part 1 of A Little Princess, Sarah's father enrolls her in a girls' boarding school in London. Captain Cruise and returns to India. Part 2. A French lesson. When Sarah entered the schoolroom, the next morning, everybody looked at her with wide, interested eyes. By that time, every pupil from Lavinia Herbert was nearly 13 and felt quite grown up, to Lottie Lang, who was only just 4 and the baby of the school, had heard a great deal about her. They knew very certainly that she was Miss Minchin's sole pupil and was considered a credit to the establishment. One or two of them had been caught a glimpse on her French maid, Mariette, who had arrived the evening before. Lavinia had managed to pass Sarah's room when the door was open, and I see Mariette opening box which had arrived late from some shop. It was full of petticoats with lace frills on them. Frills and frills, she whispered to her friend Jessie as she bent over her geography. I say, her shaking them out. I heard Miss Minchin say to Miss Amelia that her clothes were so grand that they were ridiculous for a child. My mamma says the children should be dressed simply. She has got one of those petticoats on now. I saw when she sat down. She has silk stockings on, whispered Silk. Whispered Jessie, bending over geography also. And what little feet! I never saw such little feet. Oh, sniffed Lavinia spitefully. That's the way slippers are made. My mamma said that even big feet can be made to look small if you have a clever shoemaker. I don't think she's pretty at all. Her eyes are such a queer color. She isn't pretty as all the pretty people are. Just stealing a crayon so close to do. She makes you want to look at her again. Sarah was sitting quietly in her seat, waiting to be told what to do. She had been placed near Miss Minchin's desk. She was not abashed at all by many pairs of eyes watching her. She was interested and looked back quietly at the children who looked at her. She wondered what they were thinking of, and if they liked Miss Minchin, and if they cared for their lessons, and if any of them had a papa, all like her own. She had had a long talk with Emily about her papa that morning. "She is on the sea now, Emily," she had said. "We must be great friends to each other and tell each other things. Emily, look at me. You have the nicest eyes I ever saw, but I wish you could speak." She was a child full of imaginings and whimsical thoughts. And one of her fancies was that there would be a great deal of comfort even pretending that Emily was alive and really heard and understood. After Mariette had dressed her in her dark blue schoolroom frock and tied her hair with dark blue ribbon, she went to Emily, who sat in a chair of her own, and gave her a book. "You can read that while I'm downstairs," she said. Seeing Mariette looking at her curiously, she spoke to her with Sylvia's little face. "What I believe about dolls is I can do things they will not let us know about. Perhaps, really, Emily can read and talk and walk," she said, "but she won't do it when people are out of the room. That's her secret." "You see," Sarah continued, "if people knew that dolls could do things, they could make them work. Perhaps they have promised each other to keep a secret. If you stay in room, only just sit there and stare. If you go out, she will begin to read. Perhaps go out and look out a window. Then, if she heard either of us coming, she would just run back and jump into a chair and pretend she had been there all the time. Come on, Elle, let's truly, Mariette said to herself. And when she ran downstairs, she told the head housemaid about it. And she had already begun to like this odd little girl with such an intelligent small face and such perfect manners. She had taken care of children for who were not so polite. Sarah was a very fine little person and had a gentle, appreciative way of saying, "If you please, Mariette, thank you, Mariette," which was very charming. Mariette told the head housemaid said that he thanked her as if she was thanking a lady. Elia a la d'une princesse, c'était Peter, she said. Indeed, she was very much pleased with her new little mistress and liked her face greatly. After Sarah sat in her seat in the schoolroom for a few minutes, being looked at by the pupils, Miss Minchin rapped in this manner upon her desk. "Young ladies," she said, "I wish to introduce you to my new companion." All little girls rose in their place, and Sarah rose too. "I shall expect you to all my agreeable to Miss Crewe. She has just come to us from a great distance, in fact from India. As soon as your lessons are over, you must make each other's acquaintance." The pupils bowed ceremoniously, and Sarah made a little curtsy. They sat down and looked at each other again. "Sarah," said Miss Minchin in a schoolroom manner, "come here to me." She had to get a book from the desk, was turning over its leaves. Sarah went to her politely. "I said Papa has engaged a French maid for you," she began. "I conclude that he wishes you to make a special study of the French language." Sarah felt a little awkward. "I think he engaged her," she said, "because he thought I would like her, Miss Minchin." "I'm afraid," said Miss Minchin with a slightly sour smile, "that you will be a very spoiled little girl and always imagine that things are done because you like them. My impression is that your papa wished you to learn French." If Sarah had been older and less punctilious, but being quite polite to people, she could have explained herself in very few words. But as it was, she felt a flush rising on her cheeks. Miss Minchin was a very severe and imposing person, and she seemed so absolutely sure that Sarah knew nothing whatever French, as she felt as it is almost rude to correct her. The truth was that Sarah could not remember the time when she had not seemed to know French. Her father had often spoken it to her when she had been a baby. Her mother had been a French woman. And Captain Crewe had loved her language. So it happened that Sarah had always heard and be familiar with it. I have really learned French, but she began trying to make herself clear. One of Miss Minchin's chief secret annoyances was that she did not speak French herself and was desirous of concealing the irritating fact. She therefore had no intention of discussing the matter and laying herself open to innocent questioning by a new little pupil. "That's enough," she said with polite tartness. "If you have not learned, you must begin at once. The French master, Monsieur Durfrage, will be here in a few minutes. Take this book and look at it until he arrives." Sarah's cheeks were warm. She went back to her seat and opened the book. She looked at the first page with a grave face. She knew it would be rude to smile, but she was very determined not to be rude. It was very odd when she expected to study a page. She told her that La Pierre, that means the father, and La Mère means the mother. Miss Minchin scrutinized her. You look rather cross, Sarah, she said. I'm sorry, you do not like the idea of learning French. I'm very fond of it, answered Sarah, thinking she would try again. But you must not say but when you are told to do things, said Miss Minchin. Look at your book again. And Sarah did so, and did not smile, even when she found that Le Fils means the son and Le Frère means the brother. When Monsieur Dufranche comes, she thought, I can make him understand. Monsieur Dufranche arrived very shortly afterward. He was a very nice, intelligent, middle-aged Frenchman, and he looked interested. When his eyes fell upon Sarah, looked, trying politely to see what's word in her little book of phrases. Is this the new people, madame? He said to Miss Minchin. I hope that's been good fortune. Her papa, Captain Crew, is very anxious that she could begin the language, but I'm afraid she has a childish prejudice against it. She does not seem to wish to learn, said Miss Minchin. I'm sorry of that, mademoiselle, she said kindly to Sarah. Perhaps when we begin to study together, I may show you that is a charming tongue. Little Sarah rose in her seat. She was beginning to feel rather desperate, as she were almost in disgrace. She looked up into Monsieur Dufranche's face with her big green-gray eyes, and they were quite innocently appealing. She knew that he could understand as soon as she spoke. She began to explain quite simply, in friendly and fluent French. Madame had not understood. She had not learned French exactly, not our books. And her papa and other people had always spoken it to her, and she had always read and written it as she had read and written English. Her papa loved it, and she loved it because he did. Her dear mama, who had died when she was born, had been French. She could be glad to learn anything Monsieur would teach her. But what she had already tried to explain to Madame was that she already knew the words in this book. And she held out the little books of phrase. When she began to speak, Miss Minchin started quite violently and started staring at her over her eyeglasses, almost indulgently, until she had finished. Monsieur Dufranche began to smile, and his smile was one of great pleasure. To hear this pretty childish voice speaking his own language so simply and charmingly made him feel almost as if he were in his native land, which in dark, foggy days in London sometimes seemed worlds away. When she had finished, he took the phrase book from her. The girl looked almost affectionate, but he spoke to Miss Minchin. Ah, madame, she said, there's not much I can teach her. She has not learned French. She is French. Her accent is exquisite. You ought to have told me, exclaimed Miss Minchin, much mortified, turning to Sarah. I tried, Sarah. I suppose I did not begin right. Miss Minchin knew she had tried, and that it had not been her fault that she had not allowed to explain. And when he saw that the pupils had been listening, and then Lavinia and Jessie were giggling behind the French grammars. She felt infuriated. "Silence, young lady," she said severely, rapping upon her desk. "Silence at once." And she began for that minute to feel rather a grudge against her sole pupil. My